Hi, Tracy. Hi, John. There's some regulars. Oh, some new people. Hi, Irene, Helen, Charlotta, Camilla, Jutta, Linda, Vicky, Carol. Brilliant. Good to see you. Right. I know I sort of sent this email broadcast out quite late. I've been really busy. So I thought I'd try and see what happens if I send it out sort of last minute. And because sometimes, you know, if you send email broadcasts out, you put an email out going to a webinar like a week before, people tend to forget about it. So I thought I'd try sending it out sort of a couple of hours before and see the response. And there's quite a lot of people have come in, and I thought, oh, actually, if you're around, you might be like, yeah, I want to get on this. So good stuff. All right, so we're going to kind of start. We're a minute past, so I think we have people in. Brilliant. All right, so we're going to talk about all certificates. Now, obviously, certificates is a really important thing in your courses if you want to issue them. And being able to customize the default templates that Zenler has got is actually relatively easy to do if you follow these steps. Now, you guys that have probably seen the tutorial I did a while ago, where I show you how to edit an SVG file, it was good. It did what I wanted it to do, but it wasn't as stable as I wanted. So always I look for better ways of doing things that are free. All right. So you haven't got to pay for any software or anything like that. So I found this really good way of doing certificates really easily, and also being able to use things like Canva, which you guys are familiar with, Pixabay, which you know, you can get your images from for free. So I put this together, and I'm going to show you how quick it is to sort of do it. Now, we did a competition and we had 3 winners, and I've done one of the certificates for one of the guys. So I'm going to show you that now. To say, basically, the certificate that he created is exactly the same as this. And what he was having to do, because he didn't know how to customize it so the fields automatically get filled in, he was actually having to manually do this. So he said, I've got this certificate. I like the way it looks. I just want it to work in the system so that I can just apply it to courses, maybe change colors, things like that. So I put this together, and didn't take very long at all because he gave me the base. So I'm going to show you what we did and have a look, and we can open up to some questions at the end. This shouldn't be that long a workshop, really. So I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully you guys can see it. A thumbs up, you can see that? Hey. Brilliant. All right. So this is what we did. So obviously it's got my name in there, but this is filled out from when they register up. So registered up as David Newton, my name's gone in there. And then this part here also pulls in from the course that you've applied the certificate for. And lastly, it gives you the date there, which is self-filled as well. So these parts can be automatically put into the template. So I'm going to show you ways to do it, because obviously, like, you guys probably got live sites. Some of you have got live sites, maybe some of you haven't. And obviously you don't want to start playing around with adding certificates into a live course. So what we're going to do first of all is we're going to set up a dummy course, and then we're going to actually add a user to that course. So that sets us up for getting the certificate, so actually being able to view it. And what we're able to do is actually create a certificate, and we're able to upload it, test it works. And then if we don't like the look of it, we can change it around a bit. Then we can refresh the page, we can download it again, look at that, and we can keep repeating this process, but it won't be on a live course. So, you know, you could do it on a live course. I'm not saying you couldn't, but you probably want to use it in a test course to start off with. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to minimize this down. We're going to be using a program called InkScape to do the certificates. Now that's inkscape.com. I'll put that in the chat, guys. And you've probably seen that in the page. I think I put it on the reminder page. So it's in there. It's absolutely free. And what you're going to do is go to inkscape.org, and you're probably going to go to downloads. You go to current version. This can be confusing. So you go to current version, then down here, just click this all platforms. Don't read all that rubbish. And then just select the platform that works for you. Eps Files are good for Windows. Okay. This is what I've got. And if you're using a Mac, you can download a disk image there for Mac. Okay. So it does both of them, and the interface should be the same as what you see later on. So let's jump across. We're going to use the old famous Surf Dudes Quest site. This is a live site. This is taking people in as leads at the moment. I haven't launched the site, but this is the site that I've used. Some of you guys that have been with lots of my live workshops will be very familiar with this, because it's like a holding page for this, and it's going to launch later, and I've started to get leads coming in there. So we're going to go straight to courses. So inside the courses, you can see, pretend these courses are live and I've got students coming in. So we don't want to test the certificate with these. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new course, and we don't have to, it's going to take us minutes, guys, because we don't need to put much content in there. Just waste basically one section and one text, and then we can use that as a course. So I'm going to click create new course. I'm going to call this something like certificate. Okay, and this video, by the way, will be on replay. So I'm going to call it that. Not going to fill anything else in. Just going to go create course. Okay, so it's going to, I'm going to jump back to course details, and straight away I'm going to make this course hidden. And I'm going to also, I don't need to worry about the course price, because I'm not even applying a price to it. So I've just made it hidden in there, and I'm going to click update. Now, I want to do that because otherwise it could show up on my pages if I've got a dynamic course block on my pages. So I've made it secret. No one can see it now, okay? And no one can sign up for it because I've put no pricing in there. So let's go to the curriculum now. This is the only other part that I need. And I'm just going to, it really doesn't matter what I call this. I can just call it test, because I'm just going to be going through this. So the first section is test. I'm going to add a lesson to this. The lesson type, I'm going to put text, very simple. And I'm going to click in here and click save first, and then click text, and then just type a load of gobbledygook in there. It really doesn't matter. Click save. Okay, so I'm now going to publish the course. Okay, so it's published, but remember, it won't show anywhere because it's private and people will not be able to buy it because there's no pricing options. That is it. I've set my course up. So I've got that course in there. I can now jump and we can add a user. So we want to jump to, you guys want to jump to site, and you want to go down to student. Okay, now I've got to be careful in here because I have live students, so I don't want to be showing their email addresses. So once I'm in this section, I can then go to add a user. So I'm going to put, let's just do something easy in here. Doesn't even matter if you don't use a proper email address. Okay, and put test in there. Just put a password in here. Doesn't matter. It's going to change in a minute. And now this is the important bit. Course, plan, enroll. So I'm going to enroll him into certificate test. And that should then enroll me. So I'm going to click add now. And there I am there. And if I click in this little edit button, go to courses, you're going to see I've been added there, and I haven't completed any of it. So now I can complete that. I can log in as a student. Now, where in a course where you set your certificates up from, let's go back to courses here, and let's go into this one. Our certificate area is going to be under course details, and we can enable certificates. So notice I've enabled certificate. Now, if I click in here now, these are the default templates that we give you. Okay. So there are the default ones that we give you. So I'm not going to pick any of those at the moment. I'm just going to now run on to the next part of it. So we need to test this as a student. And I'll just, sorry, I'm backtracking here. I'm going to enable certificates. I'm just going to pick one of these. Doesn't matter which one. I'm going to click update. So I've got a certificate in there. I just need to show you that for testing. Okay, so I'm going to jump in, and I'm actually going to log into the site now in incognito. So this is where it's good to have windows open that you can close and open back up if you haven't got two monitors. So I'm going to go to new window incognito. I'm going to put that in there. And I'm going to sign in. And I'm going to sign in under my email address that I put in here. I'm not a robot. Log in. Okay, go to my courses. And there it is. So what I can do now, because remember, and let me just close this down, inside here, I made the certificates on this course active. Okay, so let me jump back to the incognito window, and I'm going to start this course. Very short course. I'm just going to click start here, and we're going to do that. We're going to go mark as complete. And what's going to happen, we're going to get a certificate comes up. It says download your certificate. So if I download this certificate, and it will jump off that page, by the way, but you can still download it here. Now, this page, I can leave it as it is. For everything we're going to do next, I can leave this page, because when we change our certificates, all I have to do is hold the control key on the PC, hold the control key and hit refresh, and it will refresh the certificate with the new one that we put in there. So just as a tester, I'm going to download this one and show you what happens. So it downloads here, and it's going to be in my download folder. So I'm going to show my download folder. If we look at this, if the machine, there we go. So that's a certificate there. So it says David test, and it says certificate test. That's the name of the course on October the 24th, 2021. So it works. So let me just show you how the testing is going to work with this. So I'm not going to exit out of this. I'm just going to hit this one to minimize it. I'm going to go and select a different certificate. I'm going to select the red one, and I'm going to click update. Okay, so I'm going to jump back into my incognito window, and I'm going to hit the refresh in here. So control key, hit refresh. Let's download this one. It's going to download. It's going to go into my download folder, and this version is going to be red. There it is. So you see how quickly we can jump between certificates. That's the only reason we just did all that stuff we did. So to recap, we set up a user, we set up a test course and we made it secret. We published that course, and then we added our user to that course. We then logged in incognito, and we went through the course, which was really quick because it was one text file. And now we're set up to be able to set up these files. So with that said and done, I'm going to now jump into the certificate areas. So let's minimize this because we want that page open. And now we're all about creating the certificates. So I'm going to close this off just because I want to be nice and clear. Okay, so certificates are found under courses. So I'm in this section. So this is a little speedy tip for you. You'll find when I do my courses, instead of just clicking something, if I'm going to be jumping between pages, and I am because I want to select the new certificate in here, I don't close this window down. I just open a new tab. So I go into courses, I right-hand click, and I go open link in new tab. So this means now I can jump between my certificates, which are down here, and the course page where I can select the certificate. And remember, I've got the incognito browser open, so I can put it in there, refresh, and check the certificate. So we're in certificates now, and this is where we're going to add our certificate design. So you have these ones here. These are the ones that Zenler set up for you, our default templates, and we're going to add a certificate design. So I'm going to click in here, and we haven't got anything to add yet. So we're going to check out what's going on in here. Well, inside here, we can choose the file, which we haven't created yet. We can also name the certificate. So if you were doing this, if it was a generic certificate for all your course pages, you could call it, you know, whatever, your surf dude certificate. But if you were doing it per course, you could call it like advanced level surfing course, beginners surfing course, intermediates, you get the idea. So you could set up different certificates and choose them in the picker. So let's go down to here. It says sample SVG. So what is sample SVG? Well, these certificates use a file format called SVG. It's actually Smart Vector Graphics. So it's a way of being able to bring code into a design, basically. Correct. So that's what they call them, SVG files. Now that program you looked at, InkScape, that uses and exports SVG files. So it's perfect and it's free. So before we click the sample, we're going to click this little question mark, and you're going to get some things come up. Not all of it is correct, but inside here it says how to create an SVG. So it's assuming that you already have some software that's going to do that. It tells you that your document size should be 1,000 pixels wide by 706 height. Now, guys, you don't really have to think about that too much, because we're going to be downloading the sample and that will be the correct size. And we'll be putting that into InkScape and using that as our base anyway. So we have variables. So these are variables are what's pulled into the certificate. So like the course name, the student's name, the completion date. So these variables are in this format here. You see that? So if I was to put, if I wanted to put like this is Surf Dudes, I would put this is, and then I would put in, if the name of my school is Surf Dudes, I would put in this variable, and then it will pull it from the site straight into the document. Same for student's name, course, completion date. So these are the variables we can use in any of our certificates we create. So what it says here, and this is a little bit misleading, it's saying we can only use 3 custom fonts. That's not true. Okay. There are some fonts that you choose that might not display properly, and that's why we go through the test process. These fonts that are here, 2 of them are good. One of them, I don't even know why it's in there. So I'm going to show you, I'm being brutally honest about this as well. It's like I've said this to the support team, why, you know, to the dev team, why have we got this in there? Because it's just awful. The font is awful. And I want to just bring that up. So I'm going to just go and find the template. Okay, here it is. So this top font here is Alex Brush. Okay, this one here is Pacifico. These are both usable. This one here is Blazium. So, I mean, it's awful, isn't it? I don't think anyone's going to use that. Yeah, everyone's nodding. Right, yeah. So let's get on the Facebook group and go, why is Blazium even in the thing? You know, just raise your hand, have a shout about it. However, we can put things, good fonts like Arial, or if you're on Mac, Helvetica, Arial, Verdana. You've also got fonts like Times, which works. And that certificate that you saw, that was in Times, which looks really nice. Now, I think Alex is quite good. You know, Alex Brush is quite a good font for doing sort of scripty stuff at the bottom, but you know, it's really up to you. These fonts, I've got the fonts actually in my files. So if you haven't got them on your system, you might need to install them. And I've actually got them in here. So what I'm going to do is, I probably won't include Blazium because it's awful, but I'll send these. They'll be in the replay page, so you can download them. And to install them, you just open them up, open the zip file, put them on your desktop, right-hand click them, and you just go to install, okay? And you can install that font into your system. What this means is if you open something like Word up, if you've got Photoshop or Illustrator or Inkspace, you can select it. It will be in your system fonts. So I'm going to give you that anyway. They're all free. So you could even search for them, download them yourself, but I'm going to put them in there so it makes your life really easy. Okay, so we've got the fact that it's telling us we can use free fonts, which isn't true. We can use more. So that's all it's telling us at the moment. So remember, the key things to take away from this, variables. You've got these 4 variables in here: width 1000, height 706. That's all you need to remember. And if you ever need to come back to that, remember, you can just click that little button and then you can look at it, just in case you forget, because it happens. Next, we have what's called sample SVG. Now, this is really cool because what it will do is it will download a sample certificate. And why have we done this? We've done this so that you can take it into a program and then you can just play around with it. So I'm going to click this sample. It's going to give me this here. This is just a basic thing. I'm going to click download. And it's going to download here. Notice SVG format. Okay, so that's going to be in my download folder. So show in folder, and I've just got rid of the PDFs I downloaded earlier. and I've got it there. So I'm going to name this custom 1. Okay, I'm going to leave it in my download folder just for convenience. You guys have probably put it on your desktop or in a folder, but I'm going to leave it inside here. So that's where I'm going to grab it from. All right, so we've done that. Now we can start the work, and then I can show you some extra things that you can do with Canva and stuff. So what we're going to do first of all is I'm just going to take some text, and I'm going to put the text in there. So I'm going to open the template up in Inkscape. I'm going to delete it all out, and we're going to put the text in there from this. So let us do that now. So I'm going to open Inkscape up. How are you guys doing? Are you all right with this? Are you? Irene's busy eating her biscuits. You're good with this. You should be, but yeah, blazing should be banished. Yeah, let's get on the Facebook group and go mad about it. All right. So you're good. I mean, it's going to be for a replay anyway. I know I'm going quite quick. Right. So I'm going to open Inkscape up on my machine. And I'm not 100% familiar with Inkscape, but it does what I need it to do. And especially when I start to use things like Canva and those pieces of software. Hold on, where is it going? Oh, there it is. So here is Inkscape. Yeah, don't get like, what's going on? It's not that bad. Honestly, it's not. So first thing I'm going to do is, this document is the wrong size, but don't worry. We're just going to go to File. We're going to go to Open, and we're going to open that download file. Remember, it's in our download folder. There it is there. So I'm going to click Open. And it's going to sort of do a funny thing like that, which it does. Let's go like this. And there it is. There's my certificate. Now, if you use the minus key on the keyboard, you can zoom in and out. And if you hit the plus key on the keyboard, you can sort of jump about a bit. You can also use if you're zoomed in like this and you want to move around this certificate, you can press the space bar and you can move the certificate around like this. But you need to press the space bar again to get out of moving this around. This caused me a lot of trouble. I was like, why can't I get out of this? And you've got to hit the space bar again, and then it sort of freezes up. So just so you know, when I do my certificates, guys, I use Illustrator and I use Photoshop. So you know, it's getting used to the different types of software. So if we look here, I'm going to try and get this so it's a bit clearer. You can see that I've got something called, can I close that down? I've got this thing here called layers. This is going to be really important. Now, what I'm going to do with this certificate is, the only reason I brought this certificate in is because I want to delete everything out. So notice I'm using this little arrow key and I'm dragging across. So I'm pressing the left mouse button, dragging across, and then I'm going to hit the backspace. But what has this given me? So that template I downloaded basically is just giving me the size. Now you can set the size easily by going to File, Document Properties, and setting the size inside here. You notice 1000 by 706 units pixels. So that's the only reason I downloaded that. So let's test this out with a certificate then. So I'm going to, first of all, we're just going to do a plain certificate. So I'm going to show you how it works. So I'm going to go school name, and I'm going to hit the enter button, and I'm going to go student, enter button, date, enter button. What was the other one? School name. Oh yeah, course. Right. Now we're going to grab the variables. So guys, I don't expect you to remember these. So you need to go back to because I don't. So we need to go back to here, just hit this add certificate design, go to this little icon and go, right, what's my school name? I'm going to grab that, copy it, right hand click copy or Control C on the keyboard, back to Inkscape and put that in there. I'm losing my marbles today. Right, that's it, school name. Okay, school name. So I want to put it next to this one. So there, school name. Okay, let's go back into File again. I'm going to grab this one, student's name. Course and completion date. Let's just grab all this in one go, copy it. Okay, don't worry about that. I'm going to delete it out. Control X. All right. Right, click off, and then you can drag it. Right, so we look at this font, we can see that the font is actually a italic sans serif, but we've got Alex brush in there. We've also got Arial. So inside the font, I'm going to choose a Times, I think. Now I want to go to my, make it easy, text and font. Let's go here. So see, there's a little font button here, a little type button. If you click this, it'll activate the fonts there. Notice this top part changes. When I click, things change there and there. So I've got the font in there. So I want to change this font to a Times. I'm going to click in here, and you can click here and go through them all if you want to, or you can put it in here and you can just put Times New Roman. So there you go, it's changed to Times New Roman. Now we can also change the size of the font in here to make it a little bit bigger. Okay, now this is in its essence, it contains all the information we want. It's got the school name, student name, all this stuff. So I'm going to save it over the top. Remember, we opened the custom one SVG file. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to go save, and it will save it over the top of that version. You know, if you want to, guys, and you don't want to, you've got another version that you're doing, you can just save as, and you could call it custom to SVG if you want to. So now we're going to test this out in the system. So this is where it gets fun. I'm going to jump back here. I'm going to close this. We can load this font in now. So I'm going to start from the beginning, go add certificate, choose our font, choose our SVG file. I'm going to go to downloads, that one there. I'm going to click open. I'm going to give it a name, just call it custom one. I'm going to click add. And now you can see it's in there. So time to jump back to the course, refresh the page and select the certificate. So I'm back in the course, going to click in here, go down, and there's our new certificate. Click update. Jump back to our incognito window, refresh this, download it, and now we're checking whether it has actually pulled that information in. So there it is, downloaded. Go to show in folder, and where did I get it there? There we go. So that is how we can create a custom. Now, obviously, it doesn't look very good, but that's how we can create a custom certificate. So you can see it's pulling the data in that we need for them to download. So now we just got to make it look nice. So we can do lots of things to make it look good. So I'm just going to jump in and add some logos and things. You can do lots of stuff in this program. You can drop images in. It does get a little bit confusing. That's why I tend to like to use Canva. And so we're going to jump into Canva, because I know what I'm doing with this software, but like if you don't, you can get lost really easily with things like layers and stuff. So I want to make it as easy as possible. So I thought, well, if you can just design something in Canva, it's going to be a lot easier for you to manage. So I'm going to close Inkscape, minimize it for a second, and I'm going to jump into this Canva account. Now this is a free account. Okay, this is not a paid for version. So we're going to be using all the free tools in here to just create our design. And then we're going to put the text, we're going to put that into Inkscape, drop the text into position and lay it out nicely, export it out, and we'll have a custom certificate. So I'm going to create a new design. I'm going to go down to custom size. Our size, remember, 1000 by 706 pixels. Yeah. If you're lost with that, remember you can jump back to certificate here and click in there and go to there, and it gives you those sizes. Right, so now we've got that size, I'm going to go create new design. That's what we've got. And now you can just have fun with it. So you can start to lay things out how you like. You can put a text in there to see what it's going to look like. So what I'm going to do is grab a few little assets that I've got. And I have a few little assets in here. So I have, this is from my jewelry course. So I'm just going to drop these things in, and you can just drop them into Canva. So let me just scale this up a bit. Okay. All right, and I'm going to drop a few more logos. Now, remember, you can use any of the assets that you've got inside of Canva if you want to. So I'm going to drop my little logo in here. Okay, I'm going to go to elements. I want to make this white. So I'm going to use this little free rectangle. I'm going to go in here, and we're going to be changing the transparency of this in a second. I'm going to drag this out, drag it across here. I want to send it back. So I'm right-hand clicking. I'm just going to say send backwards. So that's appeared on top. I can change the color if I want in here. I'm going to change it to a white. And I'm going to go over here, transparency, and I'm going to drop this transparency in. Maybe make this a bit smaller. Okay, I'm now going to grab another logo. You can bring this over, by the way. Notice you can, so I could have half of it like that if I wanted to. Might look quite nice, but I'm just going to put that there. So you can play with all the things that you've got in Canva. Now we can also go to Pixabay as well. So pixabay.com, if you've got a free account with them, and we can put things like badges. So inside here gives you these kind of badges that you can download and add. And we can add these later inside of InkScape, or we can put them into Canva. Canva's got a thing, but I think it makes you pay for a lot of some of the assets that are inside here. If I put badges in there, I think a lot of them are paid for. Yeah, look, pro. So I quite like Pixabay because it's got lots of free ones that you can use. There's not really the sort of ones that I want for this. So if you've got a pro account, you can use those, but if you haven't, you can't. So that kind of limits you. So I'm going to say this is good for now. And what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to export this out as an image, and I'm going to bring it into Inkscape. So I'm going to go download, and I'm going to go to JPEG. Now you could do it as a PDF as well, just so you know. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to click download. That will go into my download folder. And by the way, it's also optimizing it when you actually output it. So let's go to Inkscape again. That download has come out of Canva. You guys know how to download stuff from Canva, don't you, if you're using Canva? So you just hit that download and it'll go into your download folder. So I'm going to call this base. And then I'm going to get this and I'm going to drag it into here, but not quite yet. Okay, I'm going to create a new layer here. I'm going to call it base. I'm going to create another layer, and I'm going to call it text. And these layers that we're creating, they're stacked on top of each other. It would be like you putting a piece of paper down, then putting tracing paper on top. So it layers it like that. So if you change the order, you change the stacking order. And you can easily change the order by dragging these down underneath. So I want to take this text that I've got here and I want to cut it. I'm going to select this layer here and I'm going to paste it, Control V. So it's now on that layer. So if I turn it off, you can see the little eye icon. So now I want that base that we just exported from Canva. Make this layer active, grab this base, drop it in. It's going to say, normally you can leave these the same. Click OK. There we go. And it should be exactly the right size, but just finish it off there. Notice also I can do this, but if you hold the Control key, it constrains it so that it's the right ratio. So I'm holding the Control key now. If I don't hold the Control key, I get really strange things happen. So I hold that Control key and put it in there. Right, let's finish off the certificate now. Right, 2 seconds. I'm just going to open the file up so I can copy the. Right, okay. So let's put certificate in here first of all. So I've got this text. This text is really good. And I'm going to lock that base layer. There's a little lock there. It saves me accidentally moving it around. So I'm going to create one layer on top, and I'm going to call this title and extras. So we've got that layer on top, and I'm going to create a new text, and I'm going to call this certificate of completion. I could use an Arial for this. I'm going to use times for everything on this. And let's make it a bit bigger. Okay, now I'm going to copy this, Control C, Control V. And I'm going to take this one here and I'm going to change the color of it. Notice this down here, change that color. So I'm actually going to take this one now and I'm going to put this over the top. So you got this kind of echo going on. I'm not sure I like that. I'm going to put it into a gray. That's better. Okay, let's go. And so I've got it on that layer. So I'm now going to go to my text. Notice I'm jumping between these layers and I'm going to put the text for it. So into the text tool. Make sure I spell it right. That. And I'm going to grab my name. Completed, and of course that would be the course. And I'm not even going to have the school name in this. You can if you want the school name. Oh, let's just do the school name. On school name and then date. And let's take this text and make this smaller. So I can select the text here, and up here, I can actually change the size. It's 29, so I'm going to make it like 18. There we go. And of course, colors, you can change all the colors. So guys, just so you know, the colors, you can come in here and you can change them down here. There are also lots of other things you can do in here. Be careful when you're playing around with this block. It should just be text. Don't put things like filters. There's all these kind of special filters you can put on this. It's quite powerful, Inkscape. I haven't looked around all of it. I just wanted to get the job done. But you can change a lot of things, but be careful with the text. I found if you use some of the filters like drop shadow filters, some of the other stuff in there, it doesn't work. When you bring it in, it doesn't actually display the proper variables. They don't come into the form. So be really careful of that if you're playing around with it. But you are playing, you know, have fun with this stuff. And we can do other things as well, like you can put colors in the background. There's these blocks that you could put in. So if I created like a rectangle there, I could change the color of that and change the size of it as well using this. So you can put different things. So I might put something in here just to make it look a little bit different on the side. You know, that's gone in over the top. So I would need to take this, create this layer, and I need to drop it underneath. I'd probably do that in Canva actually, because I can't, because that base is all that base. I couldn't do anything. So let me put it over. I'll just put it in here just so you know, for the sake of this. All right, so what else we can do is we can bring files in. We can bring what's called EPS files into the system as well. So again, certificate's getting there. Remember, this certificate's not going to look very good, guys. It's just I'm throwing everything at it so you can sort of see. So you can see how we put a design together in Canva. We put that in there, then we put the text over the top. And then you saw I put a red block in there using Inkscape. And there's lots more things you can do in Inkscape if you just want to spend the time playing around with it. But the other good thing is inside Pixabay, like I mentioned, you can get these lovely badges and things that come up. So let's go and put one of these badges in here, like this one here. So with these badges, you're usually going to find that they're not, you have the option to export them out as images and sometimes as EPS files. So an EPS file means it will keep that quality. It won't be, it will be cut out and you can use it really well. And if you want to find vectors, you can go to images and you can just hit vector graphics. So you can search for just the vector files. So now we are only showing the vector files. If that word scares you, don't get scared by it. It just means that it's going to come across nice inside the platform. So you can see this one here. I'm going to grab that. I'm going to go to this free download and I'm looking for vector. What is it? An SVG file. Perfect. So let's click in here. It might also say EPS. It might also say AI file. They all come across into Inkscape. No colored background. So they're just cut out. So we're going to click download. That's going to download here. I'm going to open my folder up. There it is. I'm going to jump back into Inkscape again. We're going to get this and I'm going to grab it and I'm dropping it inside here. It's important to make sure you're on the right layer as well. I should have selected the top layer, but in this case, it won't matter. So look, it says include SVG image as editable object in current file. So I'm just going to leave it all default, click OK. And it's going to go pretty big. So you might have to hit that button to go in and out, that minus button. I can click this, hold the control key. I can bring it down in size. And while I've got it in here, I'm going to change the layer. So I've got this in here. I'm going to select it all like this, cut it, Control X. And I want to put it on the top layer. So I'm going to add a new layer in here and I'm just going to call it badge. Okay. So if you don't want to move any of the other stuff around, what you can do is you can turn them off. You can lock them. So I can only move that image. Where is it? Oh, disappeared. Sorry, guys. I'm going to have to bring it back in again. Okay. Dragged it back in. Drag it into position, hit that plus key. But what is great about this, because it's a vector and it's saved the kind of layers, what you can do is you can double click in some of these areas. So if it's probably not going to work with this one, you can actually move things around. Hold on, let me go to there, sorry, double click. And you're able to move certain things around. But like I said, it's probably not going to work. So you might just have to leave it as it is. I don't know why it's jumping across. All right, so I'm going to put some text inside that. So I'm going to go up to here, create a little bit of text, go completed 100%. I'm going to choose an Arial. And then I'm going to bring the size down so that it fits in here. I'm also going to make it white. Come in here, make it probably 13. Put it inside there. Yeah, get the idea. So pretty much everything we can do with this. I mean, it doesn't look very good, but it's kind of like if you spent a bit of time and you just played around with things and dropped, you know, made a better background in Canva, you know that you can just drag it in here. You know how to get all this set up. You know that you could go into Pixabay, download EPS or SVG files, drag them straight in here. You know about the layer order up here. So that should be enough. So now what I can do is I can just save this out. I'm going to click save. And now we have that saved over the top. So it's custom one. I'm going to jump back and we're going to see how it looks. So fingers crossed, guys. So I'm going to go back in here and I'm going to delete this one out because I don't want it anymore. I'm going to add a new custom certificate. I'm going to call this custom one. Choose the file. Click add. There it is. Let's have a look. Yep, looks good. Pretty much the same. Come back in here, refresh it to choose the new certificate. There it is. Click update. Jump into my incognito window. Refresh it. And download it. Showing folder. And there it is. Open that as a PDF. And that's it. So you notice it's pulled this in, pulled that in, pulled the date in, different size. And that is how we can do an SVG file for certificates using InkScape, using Canva, and using Pixabay. Now, like I said, you might just play around with InkScape because you might not need to add a background image. You might not want to load a badge in from Pixabay. You might not want to use Canva. You just might want to just do something very basic inside of InkScape. And you could also, if you wanted to, you could take those templates, that sample template that we downloaded, and you could just alter that. You could play around with the colors in there and just change it, because InkScape allows you to. If you click into any of the areas, these are all locked, so I can't change them. But if I click in here and I wanted to change this to a new color, there you go. I can change it to a new color. So once you've got a template built, you could say, right, okay, for this course, I want it to have that kind of a mustard color for that bit, and for another course I want to do it for a red course. You can output save as, load them all in, and then choose the course to which certificate you want to place the course with. So you can change it and make it yours, and it doesn't need to take a lot of time. You know, you could set a basic template up inside of Canva like this, and you could reuse it. So you can go back to home, and then you could go in and say, right, okay, I've set that basic one up. I want to make a new one. Go in here, make a copy, open that copy up, and change something in there. So you could go in there and decide that you want to change the background image out, or you want to move this here. It's really up to you. So it makes it really easy for you to do that. You also might want to go in and put new elements in there. So you might decide to take this, put that in there, change the angle off. Send it backwards like that, and do something like that. It's really up to you, but you can build these bases in here using that side, 1000 by 706, build it in here and just picture, where do you want that information go? Where do you want the variables to go in? How do you want it to lay out? So if you picture it in there, and if you want to, you could even come into the text tool here and you could put that text in there. I'm going to grab it just for the sake of this. I'm going to grab this text in here, copy it, jump back into Canva, and grab the text tool. Let's grab one of these. Put that text in there, select all. Change this to like 18 or something, change the color to white, and change it in there. But when you're outputting this, so this gives you a visual of how it's going to look. When you actually go to output it, then make sure you delete that out, because you don't want that text coming across, because it won't work then. You need to do that text, that live text, inside Inkscape and then export it out. So that is it, I think. And you guys might have some questions. So you're able to unmute yourself if you've got a question. Who wants to chat?
Hi, Helen here.
Hi, Helen.
Is it possible to do any changes in the certificates that is already done, or are they stuck?
Yeah, you can download that sample one and use that.
The sample that's in your Zenler's courses.
Yeah, you can just open that one up. Let me just show you quickly. So I know it can seem like we did quite a lot there, but I've shown you everything. I've chucked everything at it. So if you go into your certificate area, you can go to here and you can download this sample SVG file, which is here. And that'll download sample SVG. And then I can go into Inkscape and go.
Do you mean to be sharing your screen?
Oh, yeah, I should. Thank you, John. Yeah, so go into this part here, add certificate, go sample SVG, download. I'll download to my download folder. And then we're going back. I'm going to go open, new, and I'm going to choose the file. So let's go open. And there it is there. Click open. And that will load that in. We probably won't because, oh, there it is. Yeah, there. And you can go in here and you can change certain things. So I could change the color there, make this a color. You can go and select these little areas and then you can change them. See even the text in there, if I make that white. So if you want to use the default ones that are already built in, you can just select them using the little arrow and you can just put them in there. Say, for instance, you didn't want this badge in the middle. You could just delete it out. Yeah, change that font over to a different font if you didn't like it. That's in Pacifico. I could put that into something like, let's put it into Arial. And you could use that. Sorry.
David, you always have to go through that specific program. You can never do anything else.
Not at the moment. I think we are bringing in at some point, but not. We've got a lot of other changes to do first. So at the moment, you can only you do custom. I mean, this is kind of like for more kind of advanced users that are used to using graphics programs and things. I try to get free ones and try and make it easy for you guys to do it. but it's not hard. You know, that first one I did, I just had a blank sheet and I just put the text on there. And you saw, like, if you had an image, you could drag an image into here. You know, once you play around with it, you'll see how easy it is. The most important thing you should take away from this workshop is those variables. You know, as long as you're putting that text in there and then you're putting those variables in around the text, then you can make it look as nice as you like around all the outside, drag images in, and then you export it out and bring it in. It's not that hard, Helen. You know,
Great.
Once you play around with it, I think you'll be like, oh, just follow the steps. You know, you're going to get a replay of this. Just watch what I'm doing and follow those steps. I promise you'll be able to do it.
Great. Thanks a lot.
It's all right. Right. Anybody else? John, you're right. Everyone's okay with it.
Oh yeah. No, this is another excellent tutorial, and this one on InkScape, I should say, and actually any drawing tool, because they all work the same way, right? With layers and all the rest of it. So yeah, I as you were doing that, I was looking at how I might use it in Paint.net. I don't know if Paint.net exports in SVG, but a
lot do not. That's the problem. And I've tried it. I think Canva's got the Pro version has got an SVG exporter, but lots of them I was finding that they were the text was coming out really weird. Like it wouldn't keep the right size. It would sometimes change the font. Also, I'm using Arial and I'm using Times. I'm using very common fonts. If you go and pick a really unusual one in Inkscape and then you test it, it might not work. It doesn't work for every single font, but if you go for the main ones, you'll be all right.
Yeah, no, this is another good tool for us to use.
Yeah,
and you can see
until we get the ability to be able to change certain things about the certificate yourself. I know lots of the other platforms do. I think Kajabi does, Thinkific does, but they don't give you. The thing with them is they give you default templates, and yes, you can change the top color, you can change some of the wording on it and things like that, but it doesn't give you flexibility. It doesn't allow you to drag an image into it. Doesn't allow you to make it absolutely your own. It will still look like a Thinkable, Teachable, you know, or Thinkific, Teachable, or Kajabi template at the end of the day if you do nothing with it. What you're doing now is you're creating a completely custom one. So it's completely with your brand and outside of the realms of being tied into any template. Because like the last thing we want to do is like you want your stuff to be unique, don't you? All you guys want your site to be completely different to anyone else's. You don't want to be copying the same old things that have been done. So this way, that's why the workshop was set up, to try and make it an easy way for you to be able to start to create these things. And look at it like you're having fun with it. You can't mess anything up, you know? You can delete stuff out, you know, have fun with. You set a test course up. No one's on there looking at it. You could type whatever you like, put whatever you like in there. Just
the reason I'm smiling, David, is that's exactly what you're doing. I mean, I know you're into this stuff, right? So for you, yeah, just go and spend a Saturday morning playing with this, or a Sunday afternoon playing with this.
Well, it is, you know. It is like that, because it's kind of like it is a bit of fun. Also, like what you should do as well, and that's what I never sort of mentioned to you, is you might be stuck for inspiration, because, you know, we all are with these things, and you can use Google to look around for really good certificates. And if I just share my screen again, because everyone needs a bit of inspiration. So if we go into like here, we type in certificates inside here, we're going to get loads of going to images here, and we get loads of little inspirations, you know. Now, don't take their stuff because they're probably copyrighted and you don't want to take other people's, but it can give you ideas to go along with, you know. So, and I think I did one. Now, I did use Illustrator. I didn't use the proper program. I didn't use Inkscape to do this, but I did some certificates using Illustrator. So I created this top piece here that went round to create this. So I did that in Illustrator, and I also did the badge as well. I drew that all myself and put it in there, but that's what I do for a job, you know. But you can get really good looking designs just by grabbing some of the assets from things like Pixabay. And you can also use, you know, your Pixabay and Canva together. You can grab some of the assets from Canva. You guys that have got pro Canva accounts, you've got access to more stuff as well. So have a go. If you've got the pro account, try putting those things in there and exporting them out as an SVG file and see if they come in. See if they come in for you, because sometimes they do, depending on the font. But I found this is the most stable free program. Not that I've been around and tested hundreds, guys. I've tried about 5 or 6, and this one is really solid. When you create your design in using Inkscape, it seems to be exactly the same. And that's what I was looking for, because it's consistency. With the tutorial I did before, I used a program called Boxy, I think it was, and it wasn't always reliable. But you can do amazing. I mean, Inkscape on its own, apart from, you know, SVG certificates, you can do some great things in here anyway. They have a lot of tools. And once you get used to using some of these tools, you know, you might be using it for something completely different, and it's free. So it's all good.
David, can you add your own signature? Not in a specific font, but actually write out your signature, scan it, and put it in?
Yeah, absolutely. Why not? You can do that. I mean, you'd need to make sure, if you were putting on a colored background, you'd need to use some editing software. I know, John, you were doing, I did a media, creating media, so cutting out background. So you'd probably write out your signature, scan it, put it into the computer, or better still, if you've got a monitor where you can draw straight on it. But you'd need to take it into something like Pixlr and then remove the background.
Right. Okay.
And then you could use that thing over. I mean, Canva's got some good handwriting signatures in there, so you could do like a signature block, like the guy did, Jossie did for his thing. Let me just show you again. He actually produced this himself. I'm going to share my screen. Yeah, he did this signature. I think he did this signature in Canva, and this little bit and this little bit, and he actually did all that. So that's not brought in from anything. The only bit I added to the certificate design was this top bit here and this bit. The rest of it is just a template in Canva, and then I just chucked that in there. You know, chucked it in there, sent it back to him. He's happy. That was like nice, easy job for one of the winners of the certificate. So yeah, good. Irene, can you?
Yes.
That's it.
Hi. I just saw in Canva that you can actually do an SVG file with a certificate in the Pro version. Do you recommend still using Inkscape, or do you say, oh, go ahead and just put the exact elements in it and that it could work as well?
I give it. I tried. I've got the Pro version as well through Zenler, and it's doesn't always work. It's kind of a bit hit and miss. Try it, because that would save you a lot of time. So if you can do it in and it's working for you with your export from Canva, then give that a try. But I found it wasn't. That's why I'm showing you Inkscape, because it was the most solid.
I will try Inkscape as well.
Yeah, but try it. Irene, try it anyway, because maybe it'll work for you. And of course, you know, if it was all in Canva, it'd be a lot easier, because you could just duplicate your template, change the color for another course and all those sort of things.
Yeah,
so.
or you could just take the certificate, the template, and make it to your liking, and then leave out the name and the course, and then just put the entire, because then you only have to put in the names and the fields, right?
Yeah, just like we did just now. We used Canva, and we also used Pixabay as well with their vector graphics.
Yes,
Remember
exactly.
that little tip about vector graphics and using that, because it's really good. Because when you pull it in, it just keeps the, you know, it cuts it out for you. So if you can then put it on any color you want, and you can also change those colors in there as well. Although it didn't work very well with this.
Yeah, nice. Thank you.
Lovely.
David, if we are playing with stuff and we create something, is it possible for us to share the Inkscape file, like in the in the community? Can we just
Yeah,
like
yeah.
upload that, and then others can play with that?
Oh yeah, that's a really good idea. That's a really good idea, John, because it would help a lot of people out as well. So yeah, when you export your SVG file out, you'll just have this, and you could then just put that into Google Drive as a link, share link, and then drop it in. Maybe drop an image in as well. Say, look, this is this, and you can collect it here, and just send people to pick it up. That's a really good.
That's only 6 kilobytes large. That's
Wow. Small. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, some of them are bigger. Some of them are bigger because remember, this is the basic.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
You know, and also they use, if you put images in there, then the file size starts to get bigger. But
right. Okay.
really, I mean, even if it was like 10 megabytes or 15 megabytes, no one, when they finish a course, is going to be is going to actually be worried about that. They'll be like, I want my certificate, and they'll click it and they'll just wait for it to download patiently, because they would have worked through the course. So you can get away with larger file sizes for certificates. I've had certificates that are 40 megabytes and people love them. I know. So
do you find that people are asking for certificates or appreciate certificates?
Initially, some people do, some people don't. You know, it depends who you're. I've done stuff for CG workshops where we have to supply certificates. So some companies I've worked for doing training, one-on-one training or workshop training for groups, I have to use certificates, and sometimes I'm bounded by their requirements for those certificates as well. I don't use these programs to do those. I use the professional programs to do those certificates, but yeah, some companies ask you to. In my site, I think I had certificates for a while, and then you know what, I don't want to waste my life doing certificates for people, so I just didn't bother anymore. That's just me.
Yeah.
Irene? Oh, right, you got your hand up. I wasn't sure. So I think we're all okay. Any questions coming on the chat? Let me just have a look. I missed a session. Can we get a recording? Yeah, Amar, recording will go out. You've registered, so you're going to get a replay link, and I'll do this tomorrow. It'll also be on our YouTube channel as well. So problems with exporting as SVG via Canva is the font option. Yeah, so you can have problems with Canva with the SVG export. So good question about the signature. Can we add a timestamp, an official signature? Yeah, like John said, you can put the timestamp is the date. Okay, those 4 variables that you saw, school name, student, course, and date, are the 4 variables that you can use. The rest of it, you can put whatever you like into the certificate using this method, but it won't be variable. It won't be based on a time or those sort of things. They haven't got that feature in there. Maybe that's a request that you could put on. So I'm on Pro. So I think Phoenix is on here as well. She's quite knowledgeable with this sort of stuff. She's probably been helping out in here. Is it possible to change certificate in Zen? No, I think I've answered that, Helen. So yeah, I think we're done. Good. That wasn't too long. So that was an hour, that one. So you're all happy. That's good. This will be up. I might even do a kind of clearer video for our Zenler, or I might put it into the complete guide, just so it's a bit clearer with steps that you go through. Because I realized that I jumping around, like setting up a student, adding them to a course, having something in incognito, having Canva, having Pixabay, having InkScape. It can be a bit overwhelming, but just take it. As soon as you get the hang of it, guys, it's going to be fine. So I might put this into the complete guide to Zenler. The replay will be up anyway for you to watch. And the last thing I've got to say is I'm changing my Sunday lives. I've been running it from 4 p.m. Pretty much every Sunday, but I'm changing the time now. So I'm going to be actually doing them at 9 a.m. in the morning. So this is for our Australian friends, because they're missing out a lot of these lives. So we're going to change it. We're going to go back to the start. So I'm going to be doing a site build, courses. I'm going to be showing you the whole platform. And then I'm actually going to take those and we're going to turn them into kind of 10-day challenges. So they're going to be part of that. So hopefully a lot of you can join us. I might still try and we've got a day with Zenler coming up on Friday. That's on for 6 hours. We run our office hours on Wednesdays. So if you ever need anything or you want us to do more workshops in your time zone, let us know. How are you fixed, John, for 9 a.m. on Sundays?
I don't think so. No, that's 2 o'clock in the morning for me.
2 o'clock in the morning. I'm sure you'll be there.
2 o'clock at night, actually. I could stay up late, you know, just.
Yeah, well, I might. What I want to do is, because I mean, I've been running these massive things like an hour, 2 hours each session. But what I might do is I might try and break them into smaller chunks. So instead, and then do 2. So maybe do 1 hour in the morning and then 1 in the afternoon. So I hit both with the same thing, the same content, because I want people coming through this, especially if you're new to it. And I'll probably feature this video again on how to create certificates. So yeah, good. All right, fantastic, guys. Thanks for joining me. Hopefully you got something from this. Remember that Inkscape, have a go. Let me know how you get on. Okay. Post your certificates on the group or let us know how you get on. And yeah, have a great Sunday. I will see you again soon. Take care. Bye.